You guys should be able to see me in that video. I should be orange, red, and yellow. Everything around me should be somewhat blue or black. Now, the blue and black spots are our cold areas. We are literally looking for black spots to start moving on their own. I will show evidence to the person that has this at our second location, just based on that's where it actually occurred. It's a lot easier to reference it when you're at the place where it actually happened. So, normally I would give this to my skeptic long ago when I used to ask who it was so we can heckle him all night. But now, what I realize is if I give this to my skeptic, it's recording audio, which means I get to hear all the insults that poor sucker said about me all night long. So I stopped asking for my skeptic. So, Dan, this one's going to go to you because he's been very quiet all night, so we will not have a commentary. You're going to hold that horizontal all night.
Okay.
I won't comment. You all night too.
Yeah, I'm going to hear you.
There's an orange square on your screen. That means it's recording.
Okay.
If it turns to a circle because you accidentally hit it, just tap it again and let me know. I have to splice your video together.
Gotcha.
But with the new camera, we should not have any hiccups with it wanting to flip files on its own. That's the reason why the new one is there.
Gotcha.
Do you see the little dots moving around?
Oh, I think I had my... Okay. I need to keep my fingers off of here.
Your finger was the warmest thing in the picture.
Yes. Yes, okay.
So now you should be able to see those dots move around. As I'm kind of moving around you, you should find a cold and a hot spot.
Yes.
Perfect. Let's get into spirit boxes, because those are always interesting, right?
Yes.
Spirit boxes, again, I have to explain what everything is, because I never know what my audience is. So these are going to allow us to communicate with the dead. It's going to sweep through all of the FM radio stations at a very quick rate. Now, mine are slowed down. This is not TV with Zach Bagans giving you all that white noise, and then he tells you what he thinks he heard, trying to convince you the same thing. We're going to be doing this in real time. With mine being slowed down, we're going to get radio chatter. That's what we want. That's what we're after. Your ears are not trained to be listening to white noise all night long, because between my history and white noise, you're going to fall asleep. It's a guarantee. Now, with that radio chatter coming through, song lyrics, DJs, commercials, in the event we can make anything out, it's a 50-50 shot. I can tie it to the location of where we are, a person I'm talking about in history, or something going on with one of us. So, again, I will lay out as many as I possibly can find in the morning, because this will record for you the entire session, even when it's on mute, and it will not record any background noise. It will not hear us, and when I say turn your spirit boxes down, this one is still recording at a nice even level. So I will give you the audio markers of about 15 to 20 things that I find, whether they're relevant or not. If they are relevant, I will tell you why, and then give you the backlink of where I got my info. It's not because I told you, it's because Britannica.org told me to tell you. Does that make more sense? Again, I'm not going to be the guy that's going to make stuff up for you. So, let me get this guy fired up. Anybody super stoked about a spirit box? That was an immediate. So, this is already recording right now. You have one button to worry about. There's a wheel at the top. Yeah. You said you were excited.
I am excited about it.
So, there's a wheel. It controls the volume. So at certain places, I'll say keep it audible to the two of you only. Go ahead and take it. Keep it audible to you two only, because we might be near horses, we might be close to a residential area, so forth and so on. So I'll kind of, when it's time for spirit boxes, because there will be 3 of them, 3 different types. I'll say spirit boxes up, let's roll. Let's continue with spirit boxes and get them all out there. Alright, so this spirit box does the exact same thing. Sophia, right?
Yes.
Same thing that Sophia's does, only it does not record. Normally this goes to 2 people. It will go to 1 person tonight, because we have exactly 9 folks here. I have 9 devices. So, have you guys used the spirit box before? Is this something that interests you at all?
I don't know.
Alright, I have another one that's a little bit easier to use than this one. Brendan, alright? Alright. Sorry, I don't normally ask. I usually just start handing stuff out. So you have 1 button to worry about as well. There's a button on the side of the ball speaker, so if you hold it up gently, you'll get volume. If you hold it down gently, when I say spirit box is down, obviously that's the way you gotta operate that. Alright, the last spirit box. So this one is interesting. So this one is going to give us a word from time to time in the center of the screen, and then it's going to save all of those words to a list. You guys will have the full list back. Here's what I'm going to tell you about the list. Last time they had 88 terms, that's a little heavier. I've been actually averaging about 70 terms for a 2-hour time frame. 88's a little heavy. So 80% of what comes out of this doesn't mean anything. It's meant to be a game and a hoax. The other 20%, again, I'm going to give you the full list, but I'll put them in bold, give you the explanation with the backlink of why it's relevant to that specific location. These words are all timestamped, so it kind of helps me go through thermal imaging camera, the spirit box recording. It kind of lets me know where to look. So if something is happening here that is relative to the location, then definitely that's where I go to in all the rest of the data. So this one is super easy. All you got to do is let me know what the words are. I will show you at our first location how to get to the full list, because I will often say, Nicole, where are we at with the list? And actually, it's going to be easy because I call your name out the easiest, and my name being Nick, yours is going to be easier to remember. So we're going to go with that. Let's see here. I have a special device for you because most of these other devices are paired up with another one. Okay. The new one, the brand new one, will be yours because it does not pair up with anything else. So, actually, let's go to first. EMF meters are an absolute must. How am I going to do this? These are pretty popular on the TV shows, so you pretty much have to have one of these guys in order to, you know, detect what's going on around us. This is going to measure 3 different types of electromagnetic fields. This one is really, really sensitive, so we're always going to try to debunk what actually happens out of this guy. The first one is it's going to measure ambient, or the regular EMF field from the Earth. That's why it's green, it's not doing anything, should be pulsing a little bit. Electronic devices are going to make it go into a pulse, so we don't want pulses either. We want this thing to go all over the place. We want it to go a little nuts. So with that said, with it going nuts, that'll help you guys decide where to stop and ask questions on the spirit box. Alright, so I'll do this portion. So this one, I'm trying to decide who this is going to go to. I think it's probably going to end up going to you, Amber.
Okay.
So this one has 3 different functions to it. The reason why this one's going to your group is because he has a thermal imaging camera, and one of the functions deals with that. Okay. The top one has the same thing that Denise's has. That's your top numbers. Okay. Anything above 2.5, I'm excited about. We need to kind of gauge what's going on there. The bottom number is ambient temperature. If Dan finds something on his camera, we can find out where it's coming from by the yellow probe at the top and debunk it pretty quickly. Again, I don't like false positives. The last thing that it has a REM pod built into it, which means it's going to detect motion around you in this antenna. Now, it always goes a little nuts here because of the wiring that we're nearby. Okay. The gist of this machine, guys, is that if something gets close to this antenna, it's going to go off. Okay, I have the EMF field around this guy set pretty small. That noise is kind of annoying on both the audio over there and over here, so we don't always use it, but I'll definitely let you know when we're going to use it. Okay. So right now, just leave the little flap open. Okay. Focus on your numbers. Okay. Alright, this is the neuralizer for Men in Black. None of you are going to remember a damn thing when we're done. We're going to be working with lasers. Whoa. So these batteries look like they're fading a little bit, so we're going to give them about an hour and probably change them out. But the cool thing is you guys can see the pen, you can see the dots on the ground. You can't see the laser in between the pen and the ground until something passes through it. So what we're literally looking for is for something to pass through it. Are we going to see it in real time? Probably not. This is going to flash real quick. Somebody, one of you, will be taking pictures next to the person that's flashing these lasers down to try to find and capture, so I can look at the pictures tomorrow morning and see what we actually caught. That person actually gets things here, so we also use red squares. Why do I want red squares? Same gist, only when we catch something here, I can put it in 3D software. You guys will have a full 3D view of what we caught with measurements. Wow. So, have I caught anything that can go into 3D software yet? No. Do I have some things that are questionable? Yes. So, both lasers go to one person, so I think these are going to go to you. Lasers always stay towards the ground, maybe 5 feet in front of you. That's the furthest we're going to go. Your lasers are strong enough to make car alarms go off. So, again, I don't like to run with 9 other people. Brendan's getting left behind. Just saying. He looks a little unfit. I don't think he can make it. So, with that said, you're going to be taking pictures. So whenever he's working, there's no flash on this guy on purpose. Point one of your lasers down, whichever one you want to choose. You're going to be taking pictures through the laser, not down at the red square with the 3 dots, through it. Make your camera straight. try to be as still as possible. The less blur we have on this, because there's no flash, the better. Easier it is to try to make something out. So, I know, it's a lot of work. See why this is a 15-minute intro, guys? And we still have one device left to go. Because Elizabeth needs something to do, don't you?
I do.
Elizabeth's special device.
Yes.
Yeah, the crazy contraption that I just pieced together that we're still testing. Ooh, look at this guy. So,
Oh, wow.
you're probably thinking we're going to go GoProing, but not really. Alright, so you guys should not be able to see me in that picture. If you can, it's probably from the car light. It's a very small 1.5-inch screen, so pretty dark in there. This is ghost hunting. Your ghost tour is probably that way. Down there, you're looking for bulldog?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to go down and to the left.
Down to the left?
You got it. So, again, let's turn on some lights. Kind of give everybody the demo. Notice you cannot see those lights with your own eyes. You can only see them through the full spectrum camera.
Oh.
So, what are we looking for here? We're looking for, I know the car light behind me is kind of killing it for us, but we're looking for things in the dark that should not be able to reflect light back to our vision, only through this. So we will record at 2 different locations. Are you right or left-handed?
Right.
Perfect. It's already set up that way. So you're going to worry about this top switch here. There are 2 of them. The bottom one gives us night vision. The other tour guides already hate me because I take their business. We don't like to raise attention. So we're going to use light that they can't see. So that's why we keep off the night vision. See, he got my joke. So, so this is long range lighting. This is short range. You have a little red button right here. So I want you to literally play with these this light and this light, and tell me what works best in different situations.
Okay.
When we're ready to record in 2 different locations, I'll let you know. The file sizes for that particular video are giant. It takes overnight to compress them and get them ready for you guys tomorrow. So that's why we only record in 2 locations. So you'll have about 40 minutes, 45 minutes of video out of that. That takes about 9 hours to process, and it's a lot, and it does not put them in order, so it's kind of weird. So you guys will recognize where you're at anyway. So now that everybody has a device, and you guys all paid me to come to work, isn't that great? And make my bag lighter. Let's talk about the location and where I told you guys to meet me. Questions, comments, concerns so far? Is anybody worried about anything? All right, cool. All right, so the building behind me, just weird that we actually have car lights nearby. You guys can actually sort of look like tonight. I like dark corners. It's kind of like, now people are going to start guessing my age. So, but the building behind me used to be called Big John's Tavern back in the 1960s and 70s. So Big John, sorry, you guys are making me talk a lot because you guys are all like SpongeBob's, like soaking me in. This is interactive. You guys are going to have to shut me up every once in a while. Big John, he sat in the back of the bar. Sorry, this way. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. This place was his. He named it after himself. His nickname was Big John. Sitting in the back of the bar, he used to tell the bartender whenever the cadets were coming over and they weren't old enough to drink. One night, 2 guys come in. They're not old enough to drink. He tells the bartender, get them out of here. They leave pretty angry. They come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Not very cool by Big John standards, so he starts pounding these guys into the floor. I mean, he's beating the hell out of them. Next thing you know, a few shots go off, and John gets hit in the neck, and the bullet ricochets and goes into the wall. John gets up after being shot, goes back to the bar, and he tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor, and ambulance. So, kind of a funny story because John's the one that got shot, and he's the one that got up, but also nobody died. So what's haunting the place is the bullet hole is allegedly still here. I say allegedly because you can see the brown paper on the windows. They're renovating it right now to turn it into something else. I don't know if they filled it in. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous headaches. That kind of mentality. If any of you bring any kind of symptoms up, I need to know about them immediately. That's kind of the reason why we start here. It's an actual warning. I have had people pass out from too much activity in the dead of winter, so it wasn't from heat. It happens. So, same group every night. So, really need to find a new starting point, but I can't get rid of this story. So let's get your minds off your own health. Let's talk about other dead people, right? So, not that you guys are dead. You hopefully are not dead. eventually this will be going on. So we had a big earthquake here in 1886. So if you guys didn't know that from another tour, I'm going to mention it several times throughout the night. Allegedly, this is where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The mantle you see in the middle of the building also wraps around the front of the building. A piece of that broke off, hit somebody in the back of the head, and apparently killed them. You can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. Notice I said apparently and allegedly on that story a lot because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so you guys aren't thinking about getting sick on my tour. So, just getting your mind off of it, guys. So, are you guys ready to go ghost hunting? She's like, yes, let's roll. We're actually going to go this way. Let's head up this way. Nice and empty. Last night this lot was full, so it was a little hard to kind of dive around. So this is kind of like, I want you to think of your entire time with me guys as kind of a ghost hunting 101. Okay, so this is level 1. This is going to be very easy. We're not going to spend a lot of time here, but we are going to dive into it for a few minutes just so I can show you guys more tactics with your devices. So you're getting stuff already. I can already see it. That's good. So sometimes it waits until we leave, like, hey, I do have something to say. So we'll kind of see what goes on with the rest of our 5 to 7 minutes here. This is what I call the big red barn lot. This is where we keep the horses for your carriage rides. You guys can probably smell them. I'm out here every night. I'm immune to it. So they are still in there, so absolutely no lasers on that building. So, Craig. Thought so. Didn't want to screw it up. I'm like, maybe Craig. It's in there somewhere. So no lasers on the building. Spirit boxes that actually make noise. If you're going to be close to that side of the building towards the front, keep your spirit boxes audible to you only. So that way we're not spooking the horses with the white noise. They will kick that metal wall and scare the hell out of all of us. So there it is that loud. The history here, guys, is really simple. This is the same barn that we had horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So let's talk about spirit boxes for a minute. There's 3 of them out there. There's always going to be keywords for the spirit box purposes because there are so many of them. This one is obviously delivery, milk and eggs. Over there was 47, New York Giants, Big John. Those were keywords. So I will always slow those keywords down so that way you guys have a better gist of the kind of terms that you're looking and listening for. So with this one, this is not TV. This is not, is somebody here? Right? Because if somebody answers no, guess what? Somebody's here. They answered you. So with that said, we're going to go after questions we already know the answers to. If somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Listen and look for the color red. Obviously, they're going to be choosing words from DJs and song lyrics and commercials to be able to convey messages back to us, but they might not find the color red. They're going to give us something specifically red. Fire truck, blood, heart. These are things that are specifically red. What color is the barn? Blood. Makes sense. In the event you don't get an answer after a couple of tries, go ahead. Do you have a word already?
Oh, it just says help me.
Oh, again, probably part of the 80%. That's meant to try to scare people. I know. It worked, apparently. $2.99 well spent. No, I'm kidding. So, open up your questions, guys. So after you don't get an answer, or if you do get an answer, keep going. What's inside the barn? Animals, horses. They're draft horses. They were delivery horses that delivered milk and eggs. Other words for milk and eggs, protein and calcium. Again, this is about putting clues together. This is not going to be Big John saying, I'm right here. My number was this on my jersey, so forth. It's not going to be a full conversation. We got to convey with the messages. If you're hearing or seeing double-digit numbers, it has a good chance of being a jersey number from one of Big John's teammates. However, keep in mind, I usually look for two clues to solidify something. Let's say, where's the red spirit box? Sophia hears the number 40, and you get the word art on your list. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Make sense? I'm always looking for 2 clues put together. If something's too vague, I'm going to say, I need something else. So I'm always going to try to debunk things ahead of time. With spirit boxes, this is kind of like your free roam. Go ahead and like crank them up, turn them up. Let's get listening just so you get the gist of how they are. I'm going to work with the cameras first, and then I'm going to probably move on to the millimeter, so that way I can show her more tactics about the cameras. I'm going to show you a little bit more tactics about those. So Elizabeth and we're going to have the camera. Oh, Dan has it. So the two of you definitely stay with me. The rest of you spread out in this lot, and let's see what we can capture. I'll be with you in like 5 minutes. So lasers, you can definitely work with them in here if you'd like. Obviously, we're not bothering anybody. Just keep them on the ground. All right, so with your camera specifically, you can see where the purple circle is.
Yep.
I'm looking for things when I'm watching the video tomorrow morning outside that circle.
Okay.
Because what's inside of it can obviously reflect light. So I'm looking for the things in the dark that are going to pop up out of nowhere kind of mentality. At the next location, after I kind of go through the history there, that's where I'll say, go ahead and get your recording started. That button is right here. It's at the very top of the camera. Oh, sorry, this side, yeah.
Okay.
So you'll hold it down until it starts flashing, and you'll literally just be a camera person. Within here, you have a different array of light. You have some dark spots, you have some light spots. I just want you to get used to how it bleaches itself out with that lighting that we can't normally see.
Okay.
So I have one thing from that thing so far. I think it was on the second night I had it out. It was a quick flash that came across like this. Go ahead and watch your screen. I mean, it was so quick, and it had like fingers to it. It was weird. It was the strangest thing, and I still haven't seen it since. Those are the kinds of things I'm looking for. Now, with that close range, as things get close, I'm sure you notice they bleach out a little bit.
Yeah.
That's where you kind of want to toggle back and forth. If you're in a darker area, turn them both on. But if you're in a lighter area, you probably just want the things in the further range is what I'm finding, because it's going to reflect the darkness around the lighting and so forth. And so, you know, you'll start to see how the branches in the distance will look, and that kind of thing.
And what about these things on the side? I don't touch that.
So this is the short range.
Okay.
This button right here controls these two little red guys. If you're ever unsure of what's actually on, go ahead and turn the full camera around so you can see the very front of it. The red, you'll see little red lights in there. Like right now, is that guy on? No, that guy's not on. So that would make it on. That's long distance and short distance. Yep, they're both red dots. Again, that bottom one just draws attention from the other stores. They're already always looking at me to see what the hell I'm up to. As far as your camera goes, I literally want you to try to keep somebody in view at all times, just because our skin temperature is going to be the warmest thing out here.
Yeah.
With that said, that dot should always land on a person. The blue dot should always land somewhere else, hopefully. Now, in the event, this is a new feature for me, so I'm going to be following up with you a lot. The nice thing about this too is it actually didn't do it. It should give you the range. Where's the range at? So that way you can kind of see. Let's get rid of that. Perfect, there it is. So do you see how the range is kind of fluctuating? It's white, hot, black, cold. That way you can kind of see what's in the screen. It's only fluctuating based on what's in the screen. I can't wait to watch this thing tomorrow, because normally I would just have a crosshairs in the center, and the person's always like, I can't see what that person's temperature is. But with this, it's going to bounce to the coldest spot.
Yeah.
If it goes, like, what's our average temperature right now? So it says like 112 is the highest, so I'm going to guess probably about
96 up here in those
okay.
the sky.
Okay, so we'll still say it's probably going to be around 82 to 84 degrees. I'm looking for like 75 and lower.
Okay.
Like if something really drops down below that, that's not like a legitimate wall or whatnot, that's where I'm going to be excited. Like, holy cow, what was that?
Yeah.
So again, I can't wait to watch this tomorrow. This is like 2 new features that I'm not used to, so I'm kind of like a kid at a candy store right now. The other one was pretty basic, and the picture quality wasn't as good as what we have right now. I'm seeing some lines go through it.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of see how the rest of it goes. But again, in here you have metal, asphalt, brick, foliage, all kinds of stuff. So that way, you know, you get used to how the different things show their temperature.
Okay.
But yeah, play around with it. Try to keep somebody in view.
All right.
difference than the whole lower corner lot down here near the mooring is crazy.
Oh, you got stuff that come up on it.
Pick up on anything?
Amber, let
Yeah.
me show you more about your REM pod. The first thing we're going to do, now that you've probably seen it move a little bit, so we're going to shut off the temperature, hold it still. We're only going to use it when Dan finds something on the camera. Now what just happens is it moves all the battery use into your EMF, so it's going to move a lot faster, so you have to keep a closer eye on it. I started off slow on purpose. Pull up the antenna. Pull it there. Look it around to where the flaps are, so you can see the buttons on the back. Two little big buttons. One closer to the edge, turn on your okay, all the way to this. Yep. Turn back around. Now it's going to jostle every time you flip it back around like that, once you get used to keeping it still. You have 4 buttons on the side with your thumb. The very bottom button pretty much set that EMF back straight again and take it back to the state that it's in if it doesn't want to correct itself. And it also proves if it's more normal activity or not. So if it keeps going back, like, oh, it's purple. I mean, reset it. It fixes for a second, it goes back to purple. We got something going on. So that's kind of the mentality there. When I say spirit box is down, that's the same thing for you on the REM pod. That'll be a click of the white button and kind of back in. Got it. Okay. All right, everybody ready to go learn some road history? All right, let's go do this. Signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. You guys are all on vacation. Nobody wants to talk about South Carolina politics. Neither do I. We're going to move on to Eliza. She was way cooler anyway. So Eliza, by the way, we're not going to be giving you questions here, like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did with the red barn. You will get the answers from your spirit box. So, and of course, I'm going to be gauging all of the activity kind of out of all of the devices, trying to keep everybody in sync with what's actually happening here. This is a hot spot for me. I'm already seeing that the wonky light tonight is actually pretty steady. Normally, Denise's EMF will go in sync with that light. So she holds it up like a selfie. It's kind of like whatever's influencing here is also influencing that light. Notice that I use the word energy, it's too vague. We don't know what's influencing that light because we can't see it. That's why we have all these crazy cameras. So, let's move on to Eliza. She married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to tell you how old she was, but I will tell you that Charles was over double her age. So that kind of helps you out. She married Charles because her father over in England thought he was dying and he wanted to see all his kids one last time. Again, he's in England. She's here. It's the middle of the 1700s. There's no such thing as citizenship, but she gets married just to put her foot down and say, Dad, I'm not going anywhere. So she was right. Dad didn't die right away, and he starts sending over gifts from England. One of those gifts happens to be the plant indigo. You guys have all been here for at least a few hours. You've probably already seen the word indigo a few times. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Nicole's got it on right now. That's how we use it still today. She experimented with it here, learning from her fellow slaves on how to keep it cultivated in our cold temperatures. Once she had it down pat, she moves it over to Mount Pleasant, which is just north of here. The pygmies own a lot of different lands and plantations. So once she had it over there, she calls Dad up and says, Hey Dad, I need somewhere to sell this. She starts getting contacts to sell it overseas. We have a business open in the middle of colonial times. There's no such thing at this time. So, just kind of giving you the cream of the crop here of what she's done for our country, just so you guys can get a gist of who she was. But there's a lot of weird facts about her that we're going to ask in the spirit boxes that she likes to chat about. Obviously, I gave you the age thing with the marriage, but she was the second wife I'm from and what U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral. So a lot of people go after that one first because the president took this one to the grave. So how crazy is that? You guys are giving me a lot of like that side eye. Is there something near me? Like I got a bear in a cave? Alright, chuckles. Everybody's still paying attention. Alright, cool. The mansion is obviously no longer here. You can ask what happened to it, and then when did that tragedy happen? Yes, I'll give you the fact that it was a tragedy. And the kids. So here's what I'm going to have to tell you guys about the kids. Tread lightly. Don't poke the bear too much. There's a tragedy among those children. If you poke the bear too much and ask too many questions, all activity will stop, including the motion and the EMF that is going off right now. So ask simple questions. How many kids did you have? How many boys? How many girls? Get the names. Leave it alone. And I don't mean that the activity will just stop here. The rest of your night will be numb. There'll be nothing there. I don't know how much power she has over the half mile that I cover, but apparently it's happened dozens of times because somebody will ask me later or tell me later, confessing that they poked the bear asking what happened to that particular child. Are you okay? I see some heavy breathing. Alright? Okay. What's your temperature say? Turn it back on. It's the top left button, top right button on the face of the thing. Well, it's not going to gauge you, I guess. Dan should be taking your temperature at this point. Okay. Again, I'm not discrediting you. That's why I use all the instruments. I want to know what's going on based on data. So, hopefully, we can catch it because he was filming you the entire time.
Yes.
So we'll see what happens. Very interesting. We're definitely safe with lasers in here. Just keep them off the cars. Speaking of cars, cameras. Any person here with any type of camera, you want to not take pictures or film somebody's car for a long period of time. They can roll and see body. So the 4 people that are actually parked here, just think about it. This is your car in here and somebody's holding a camera on it and taking pictures of your license plate. It's not going to look very good. However, if I was a car thief, I would be using Dan's camera for sure because I know how long the car has been sitting here based on the temperature of the vehicle. So just be mindful of people coming in and out of this lot of the car, going to a car. This is the only way in and out for vehicles. So just be safe, be mindful. I am going to be bouncing around every person here to basically see what's going on. And take some notes based on some of the non-recordable devices. So if you guys tell me things that are happening, I'm going to write them down so I make sure to get it down the next day. Where are we at with your word list before I spread everybody out? Alright, I'm going to check you guys in on all the different websites that you guys watch your shipments from, so you guys give me just a few minutes. The teacher's giving you a head start, find some evidence, let's have some fun. We are going to spend at least 10 minutes in here trying to capture evidence. Elizabeth, if you just want to follow another group around and go with, that's fine. But I'm going to be bouncing around, keeping an eye on everybody. So, again, she's our local news tonight, so I want to make sure she's staying with her. So she's not going to run off with my $600 bill. So, I won today! So, I know, right? It's okay, the wife will build me another one. So, alright, spread out, turn those spirit boxes up, let's have some fun. Give me a few minutes, I'll be right with you guys.
our baby weight.
Thank you.
You got any food or anything?
I don't have any food on me.
You guys can toss any food or anything. I am doing this impregnable because
Let me see what we can come up with. Let me see what we can come up with. Let me see what we can come up with. We got her coming in the ghost tour to hustle. And also, yeah, she did ask for food. Yeah. I didn't. You can qualify out of there.
Dan, how you doing on yours, buddy? You're easy to remember because my brother's name is Danny.
I don't see anything that stands out yet.
Okay.
But there is, you know, like I said, there's the vertical distortion. I don't know if that's humidity or...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I don't normally see it with the other camera. So maybe it's, you know, just the app dealing with the new camera because the app just got updated as well. And that's not I catch something with it every night.
Yeah.
But the problem with it is that I have to have it recording the whole time, otherwise we're going to miss it.
Yeah.
Because by the time you see a shadow, it's gone.
Yeah.
I do want to show you that piece of evidence, though. So it actually happens up in this corner right in here that's empty. Let me bring it up here. So the orange is obviously going to be the wall. And you're going to see two living people walking past it, very similar to what those people are doing right now. So you're going to see two dead people walking the opposite way. Once I get it to fast forward, come on, what is going on here? There we go. So I want to fast forward to about there. They're going to be right about that corner. So firemen and mechanics use that on their everyday job. I'll rewind it so you can see it again. We've analyzed this frame by frame. It is two heads walking by. It is not a vehicle. They called me up to this corner because they thought they saw shadows. I ran up here to debunk. Maybe something came off the glass, off the lamppost, you know, and then I caught this the next morning. That was about a year ago. This is probably one of my most compelling pieces of evidence that I have, especially from that camera with the new upgrade.
Yeah, I did notice, which, I mean, it is shadowy there.
It is.
But it is, I mean, it's cooler.
Well, if you notice the ground, you have a lot more mud and sand up here too. So it is going to turn that bluish black. And I have a lot of people like, oh, there's something going on the ground. I'm like, no, it's just cooler than the ambient air. So because it cooled down quicker as the sun went down. That is way more defined than the last camera. I'm going to give you that. Like, we can make things out on that. And it was getting real mushy with that last one. I had it for over a year. I'm like, okay, it's time to call it. The wife says, you really want to blow another $300? I'm like, who cares? It's keeping people interested, not to mention the gauges and this new upgrade, finding that cold spot.
Yeah.
It's going to be, how do I put this? You were not going to be able to argue with me that that was the coldest spot.
Oh, yeah.
When it shows up.
Yeah.
So, keep it going. Let me know if you hit that square by accident.
All right. Amber.
That was weird. How are we doing on yours? we are only 1 block away from Big John, and his jersey number was. So, take that as a win. Kind of take that as a. And if John pops up somewhere else, obviously it's a double win. It's a little. So, whether we're big or huge or anything like that, so if you have any other concerns, I didn't see any. That would be great. So let's talk about Eliza's death, since that was seems to be the subject of topic for the first month coming up on the word list. Eliza died at the age of 70 in Philadelphia from breast cancer in 1793. Now, 1793, there was no such thing as breast cancer, going based off of medical records. So, again, she's also buried in Philadelphia. That tells you why we don't go to actual cemeteries, even though this is called Stories in the Cemetery. Charleston's one giant cemetery with all of our tragedies. You're not going to get a whole lot of paranormal activity out of the cemetery because you're not going to hang out where you're buried. You're going to go to places you love, which is why we get so much here. It's been kind of like, to be honest with you guys, it's been really light so far. Normally I get a Charles, I get, the president, something related to that. Right now everything seems pretty vague, other than 20, which is related to the football player. Now that you guys know what year, 1793, that she died, any guesses on the president? It's not John Adams. It's Washington. George Washington, an honor for him. You got to look with that. That was interesting. So Washington actually spent a lot of time here. He was here for almost a 2-week time period, like learning about our city and things like that. I think he's pretty much hosted almost every meal. So he knew them pretty well on what she did with her indigo fields to pretty much help commerce here at the times. So it's an honor for him just as much as it was for her. Let's go into the children, just to kind of get out here to just that because I heard some questions there. 4 kids, 3 boys, 1 girl. We had Charles and Amy, Thomas Pinckney, who served in the Battle of Camden, and then you have George Pinckney, who died in infancy. So his death certificate, we don't have a grave or a headstone for the child. Basically, at the same month and the same year of his death. So we don't know if he was 8 or weeks old. And the child was lost. We have no idea what happened. Now we have 2 Georges so far. Baby George is named after Eliza's father. Eliza's maiden name is Lucas, which makes her father George Lucas.
Sorry. Go on.
You're close. Darth Vader is part of one of George Lucas's movies, so she's on the right way. Kind of a stretch, but we'll take it. You said Darth Vader. So the other Eliza, her maiden name was Lamb. Lamb and Lucas were the 2 names we're looking for there. The daughter, her name was Carrie. She actually married in Corey. Myrtle Beach is in Corey County. It's not pronounced Corey. So I know because I lived there for the rest of the week. You can't say Corey, but you're from the house. I know you're from the So anyway, there was a whole lot of letter writing back and forth. It would have been a 2-hour car ride to see your daughter. Lots of letters. So I wrote things about writing. The mansion caught fire in 1861 from the Great Fire of 1861. Anyone from Peninsula Coast? To Peninsula Coast, the building just happened to be in the way. The only photos we have of the building are of fire. So again, every tour guide has a great fire that they talk about because Charleston has had dozens. No way to get that about at all. It's just related to whatever story we're telling. I think that about covers it unless any of you went rogue with questions that I can actually prove. Did anyone go rogue with questions? What about you, Sophia? No? Questions? questions I can think of so that I can go through it before I explain to you guys. So, really SpongeBob tonight. Kind of had a long day or what? So, making their rounds. You can probably stop your recording for now. We're going to go east through Street. Once like Lodge Valley, our next one's location. Lodge Valley is super cool. We are going to take some pictures down there, so we'll be up there. You're going to be in front of the nice little pictures right now without lasers. East Bay Street near EMFs, we're going to go off based on the parking meters. I only false positives. I don't like raise posts for no reason. Ignore your readings. Spirit boxes, listen along the way. You're listening for names. Right? I'm going to tell you what gender of names. Tell me what you hear once we get there and stop. I'll explain why once we get there. Oh, by the way, speaking of, I don't want to get cognitive notions. You guys all passed my little test with a fail. I told you I wasn't going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse. Nobody came to me immediately and said the president was George Washington. They took Elijah to her grave. I'm the wordsmith. Yes, I could have figured on you, and you all passed with a fail. So I'm not going to tell you what names or what gender to listen for as we're on our way to Lodge Alley, but again, I'll explain once we get there. We're going to be in a brief stop there. There's definitely no laser zone there, and it is a quiet zone. So once we turn the corner into Lodge Alley, your spirit boxes will be turned all the way down. We're going to be next to a hotel. Brief stop, I'll tell you what's going on. Then we're going to do a little bit of legends and more in a more populated area. Obviously, I'm out of the way of the other tours right now on purpose to get you guys kind of used to what you're doing. And I'm being interrupted. When those bigger tours are walking by, you're going to see 20, 30 people in there. The law says we're allowed to go to 20. Obviously, I only go to 10. We're the smaller, more annoying group. We're going to stay out of their way. We have noisy gadgets and lights and blinky blinkies. They don't like it. They're always walking by going, why did I pay for this guy way up there when I could have hung out with him? Because I'm sold out. That's why. So, but we're going to learn a little bit of the legend and lore based on the list that we have in Nicole. And I let that guy know which stories to tell. There's like 15 in that area that are actually true. Then we're going to investigate a female pirate at the final location. So that, I'll give you that crazy story because it is nuts. This being a little bit later, that's probably going to be way more active than what we talked here. So fingers crossed. Let's keep this thing going. Like that thing's just going absolutely berserk. And you have to let me know if you hear and see the names on your word list too. So when it pops up, it's the same Natalia that the two spirit boxes have. So again, same type of spirit box. What are you doing? You bring somebody with you?
I have.
I've seen it. I've seen it happen. There's been times where I brought vets on like they were on tour and they were talking about somebody they lost overseas, and it didn't matter what story I told. Every spirit box was directed at their buddy overseas that they lost.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
If I've lost a child as well, could she be linked to me?
It's a great possibility.
Okay. Gotcha.
Very big possibility. So.
The same way that she lost one.
That reset button, so basically what's happening with that EMF, I'll give everybody an explanation, is it's supposed to have an EMF field around the antenna that looks straight. When it's going off like that, it kinks. So something broke the EMF field. When she resets it, it's supposed to set it back straight again. The test of that is, does it kink again, and is it the same exact thing? So is something hanging out with her to be able to tell if we're fixing that EMF field, is it going back to where it was? So it's kind of that test. So we've been doing that pretty much our entire time here, and it keeps kinking back up again, which is a good sign. That's a good idea. All right, let's get you out of this area before things get emotional.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
Everybody watch your step. 1 up, 3 down.
Yeah, I'm standing in front.
Alright, so any names that you guys seen or heard along the way? What is it? I got John too. John? Theodore. You're getting all the presidents today. Alright, that group is new. Security likes to come out of one of these doors and do their little check-ins, so I don't want to be in their way. So we'll go a little bit further, but John is definitely relevant to that. I'm standing on somebody's stoop right now. So again, this is how close to the neighborhood. There wasn't a lot of people. I also have a list of like along their names, because it's not a census list. It's their name and what they did for an occupation and what they lived in. The names I commonly get are Benjamin and John. So there were 4 different Johns that lived here within a 60-year time span, but a lot of times I'll get those 2 names together. So they both lived here in 1801. 2 out of 5 people, and I hear those 2 names together quite often. That kind of proves to me like it's not one of the other Johns. Sometimes I'll even get John's last name to verify, which is Johnson. So yes, his name was John Johnson. So again, I talk about a lot of funny names because they're easy to remember for the writer guide that has to remember a lot of characters anyway. The Freemasons also have a Masonic lodge here. That's why it's called Lodge Alley. And again, the name Mason, brick, claystone, all kinds of things show up here while we're walking through this alley. It's an interesting place. We are going to take a few pictures. You're going to be the last person out. I'm not going to close that thing, so I can hang out for a few seconds. Take a few pictures going down the alley. We're looking for light anomalies at this point. My wife, who's graduated with her photography degree, has taken tons of pictures down here with tons of different phones and cameras. So that way we know what the anomalies are, because I have some that we both can't explain. Again, when we get pictures on the lasers and I can't explain it, it goes to her. If it says needs further analysis, just know I'll probably end up updating it within a week when she can get to it. I send her a lot of photos, as you can imagine. So from here, we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. I know Lodge, by the way, this is Lodge Alley Inn. Every hotel down here has a ghost. None of them give me free rooms to verify. Next summer, the wife and I are going to be making our Charleston hotel rounds for new podcast episodes. They get approved or debunked pretty quickly based on the stories that they tell. So hopefully, again, even if something's not haunted, I still air it. Like that's just what I'm about. Again, we're really literally on the cusp of where tour guides are allowed to go. I say tour guides just because I have to follow the tours and laws, even though I don't consider this really a tour. It's more of an experience, right? So we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood quietly and quickly, just so we can get to the next portion. If the cemetery is kind of not being bombarded with other tours because they all stop there, I'll kind of show you what's going on in there. And I definitely want to get some footage with your camera because it's new. I don't have any footage from the cemetery yet. With it being Sunday night, we're probably going to run into some groups. Saturday, I ran into like 10 groups in that area. There was literally like 210 people in that corner. It was crazy. But we spend a lot of time there because of what we're doing. Questions, comments, concerns about what we're standing on or where we're at? You guys ready to roll? Greg's like, let's do this, man. You took me out of the game. I won't back in. Roll me in, coach.
Yeah, because I want to go back. You won't make it move.
So welcome to Philadelphia Alley. Normally I don't stop here, but I do tell this story on the other side of the wall up there. There's another door down there, so I'm going to take advantage. The reason why is because it is residential at the end. My noisy group, I got caught taking my groups through here with the new neighbors at the end. We'll just say that he wasn't very happy with me, and I got a few phone calls from the tourism office. So we won't go all the way through, but you do kind of need to see where this place is. If you're a picture touristy type person, most beautiful spot in all of Charleston, day or night. Did you guys hear how quiet it is? It's actually part of the story. So this used to be called Dueller's Alley. This is where the duels used to occur. So you've already heard this story. Everybody's got their own version. I've seen head nods already. So with this particular place, it's really cool because we're standing in it and you're going to be listening to my audio when you guys go through your data, because that's part of the story as well, the quietness in the audio. There's a doctor that moved down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown-Lack. He moves here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. The attorney handling that money told her to send the doctor away. He's just after your money. He comes to Charleston. Coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. Not a very good start. He's dressed pretty well. He just got out of med school. So somebody walking by, his name is Ralph Isaacs. He has the same initials of the place where the doctor came from, Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. R.I. shows up in our data quite often. I never know who it's referring to, so I always need that extra clue.
What's going on, party people?
Now, with that said, he takes me to 59 Church Street. We're going to go to Church Street, but it's about a mile this way. Takes me to a safe place to stay. The two become friends. The house that he takes me to is called the Thomas Rose House now. The the whistling doctor. So him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money to get better seats. They talk about these plays on the way home. They go see William III one night from Shakespeare. And on the way back, they're talking about the actress. The doctor loved the new actress, Ralph did not. Mr. Arguing turns into an insult party back on the doctor's fiancé back home. They go their separate ways pretty pissed off. Ralph is from here. He goes to his friends in the newspaper. He places an ad to like the whole city. What a disgrace. The doctor is to the whole city of Charleston. So the doctor sees it, rebuttals with, let's go to Doula's alley. Let's settle this. They come down, they take 20 paces. The doctor turns, he points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to forgive and move on. However, Ralph has his one shot. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. He didn't die right away. He's carried home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later. Notice all of those key words they gave you. He probably died from bleeding out by then. So when we go around to the corner, we're going to point out. There's a gate probably 15 feet away from here. The reason why that gate is there, so when there was a loser from a duel, which is a dead guy, they would pick him up, carry him to the courtyard, and then over to St. Philip Cemetery where they would drop the body in a pre-dug grave, and then they would go celebrate with a pint. So that's why that gate is still there. It's because this was where the duel was supposed to occur. They needed a quick exit to go to the cemetery so they could grab a drink. So most tour guides won't tell you that piece. So that's a weird, I don't even know where I found that little nugget. I'm like, a death gate? Seriously? That's going on the cemetery door. So, but we are going to exit right back out of here. You're going to listen to your audio when you guys get this piece back from when we're here. EMF is sketchy in here when I used to take my moves all the way through, so it is kind of half and half, and you haven't seen any motion out of you with your antenna up. So I don't know if it's on. Did you get any terms that are related, maybe? The word deceit is the one that made me want to tell this story. Okay. Again, maybe the doctor's not with me tonight. So let's move on. Let's keep going. You're not supposed to be down this far. And he just like went off. So I clicked on down there. Alright guys, extra seat here. We're going to spend just a few minutes here, kind of give you guys a break for a minute from walking. But there's a lot of stories on this phone. This is one right now I tell the doctor story, but there's still a lot of people. But I am super sure about John who came through so far. Like that's probably our best piece of solid evidence because that's what's consistent for me. Again, I don't know what else is in. She likes to badger my groups behind my back. So she's always up there peddling her roses. But anyway, so you guys can actually see the death gate from here. I don't know if you guys caught it before you guys sat down, but you can see the break in the doorway back there. That's the one that all the other tour guides won't point out. Yeah, very interesting little fun fact, right? So we'll go straight into the story that they're telling up there, and then if it's still free, we're definitely going to get footage with the new camera. So I definitely want to see what's going on. Everybody goes up to that gate because that's the eastern side of St. Philip Cemetery. There are two sides, so this one is for native Charlestonians only. There's a sign right inside the gate that says there's no ghost here, but the Holy Ghost. There's a reason for it. 1888, a young lady named Sue Howard Hardy. Keep in mind, her initials are, and that has shown up here several times lately. It's very interesting. So she died 6 days after her stillborn child in 1987, local photographers in town, and he is taking pictures of all of our cemeteries. He's putting books together. He actually captures a full apparition of a woman wearing a shawl and a baby basket next to her over that grave. Now, stuff, for me, this is like gold, but it's 1987. He can't debunk it. He doesn't have the equipment that we have now, no cell phones, Photoshop. He sends it to Kodak. Kodak can't debunk it either. So again, it still remains a mystery, but seeing the photo, it is cursed. Females that handle it, you're probably not going to feel very well, like the same symptoms you actually has about big jumps. If you're pregnant and you're handling it, you're probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story. So that said, I don't show the photo, I don't hand it out. If we actually have some kind of clue where I have to give you the links to show you what's going on with it, it will have a heated warning on to handle it on your cell phones. So again, it is cursed, and you guys can all see where they're flocking to. So you and I will kind of keep an eye on what's going on over there while we're investigating across the street. All of these other groups kind of clear out. I haven't played over there yet, because it's always bombarded. There's probably a good way to be there. So, and they're going to drag out that Sue Howard Party story for 2 minutes. And you guys know that you've already been on that. Am I correct? Alright, so a couple other things I want to point out, unless we've got any other words that are inspiring something else. Satan, no, definitely not inspiring. So off in the distance, if you can see the burning gas lamp through the crowd of people, you see it off in the distance, that is the pirate house. It has a big anchor on the front of it. Somebody lives there. Don't go in his backyard looking for ghosts. He gets pissed. Don't ask me how I know. But it is an interesting place, only because that's where Blackbeard's men came off their ships, have a few drinks, meet with a few ladies, and they dug a tunnel from the pirate house 1 block away over to Dock Street Theater, one of the most top 10 haunted locations in America. Do I have enough evidence of that? No. So, I've been through it a couple of dozen times, looking for all the evidence that they claim is there. I don't have much. And I have my other speculations based on the history of the building. I'll get into that if you want to know it later, because that gets into science and what happened over there and moved over here kind of thing. But anyway, they dug that tunnel to go over to what used to be called Planter's Hotel. Planter's Hotel was a whorehouse, a playhouse, and a hotel. Obviously, they went there for the whorehouse, but the playhouse as well, because let's face it, pirates tie really good knots. They would work backstage for a few days, making a few extra bucks while bartering with the locals in between. So again, it was all about the work ethic. We know that that tunnel was a legitimate thing because we just filled it in back in the 1990s. Like, it was there this whole time, but because of our flooding, it was becoming a problem over in that part of the neck of the woods. So, I was just trying to get all of your minds set on pirates because the story across the street is a doozy. Did anybody go over the Powder Magazine with you guys? That's the gas lamp. That's the one I was just pointing out. So nobody talked about like Anne Bonny with you guys? Oh, perfect. You guys know all this one. Let me point out real quick the 2 different sides of the cemetery. I told you this is for Native Charlestonians only. That one's for everybody else. You can walk through the everybody else cemetery during the daytime. If you're a history buff, Calhoun is buried over there. The funny thing is Andrew Jackson has been coming through on my spirit boxes a lot lately. Not to mention, Jackson's mother has a memorial and a burial site here. I did not know that. One of my historian friends, I told him what was going on, and he's like, well, his mother's buried here. I'm like, what? How did I miss this stuff? Like, seriously, there's so much history. He's always passing through. Once he passes through, we'll go ahead and cross the street. I do not expect and want applause that's cheesy and corny. Just saying. Oh, we're gonna let you pass through, bud. The street, we're gonna dive into the Powder Magazine and the Anne Bonny, this big national pirate. Once we set everybody loose, I'm gonna be keeping an eye on this corner, so me and Elizabeth can go over and get some footage where you guys all handle my thousands of dollars of equipment. No pressure to be running off. Alright, let's drop this.
Can we turn the sounds back on the equipment or wait?
This story is like 5 minutes, then yes.
Okay.
Oh, but yeah, yours for sure.
Okay, perfect.
this story has so many holes in it, you're going to be able to ask whatever you want. Spirit boxes. Just because, do I have enough facts to be able to prove it? I do. But I'm only going to give you the facts that I've read among the 5 or 6 books I've lost count how many I've read about this young lady. And I'm only giving you the things that were common among at least 3 of those books. So that was the gist, because the story is very This is the powder magazine. I told you guys about the Charlestown Wall, right? Cumberland, right here. This is where the wall was. So it literally went up this road, about half a block past the powder magazine, and started going south towards the battle. The reason for its location is held gunpowder for 7 different wars, including the Civil War / Serving. Now, it's tucked right into the corner for a reason. The water's that way. If you get to town 3 blocks away, you're going to have a hard time getting through these 32-inch thick walls. There's gunpowder inside. So let's say it goes all the way through and penetrates the gunpowder and blows up. You're seeing underneath those shingles from 1712. The sand is supposed to go up in the air, and fall and put out the fire of the gunpowder. Great idea. So, Elizabeth's already asked me about the process. Those are earthquake rules. So, you don't know what earthquake rules are, they're basically a term buffer. So, the gist is, wake again after 1886, which happens. Turn the current buckle, you will straighten the building back up, and they'll keep it upright. However, another theory that does not work. The interesting thing about the ones that are on this wall is the very first set of earthquake rules put in Charleston, because this is the oldest government building on the East Coast. It was finished in 1713. It's not our oldest building. We have another one older than this, but it's not a government building. So it's just a house. 1712 is the King House. If you go towards Charleston, you probably already know that. It's on Chalmers Street. So, why are we here looking for a pirate? It's familiar during the time period. This building took 10 years to build, 1703 to 1713. The young lady moves here in 1708, which is where our story begins. But let me tell you why she moved here. I'm going to follow her. Let's right? So, Anne Cormac moves here from Ireland. Her father and his mistress happens to be her mother. 3 of them are getting away from his wife. You guys with me? If I say that too fast, everyone's like going like this in their head, and it just doesn't work. So, how scorned was that lady? I don't want to know. But they moved here to Charleston. This is where they ended up. They ended up buying a plantation in the Georgetown area, probably about an hour to an hour and a half. So, she does all of the business from there. In 1708, she recognizes the building. We're going to fast forward to 1715. Now she's a teenager. Pirates are coming to town. Very exciting time for Charleston. Cormac was kind of bad. Rumor had it she actually stabbed one of her servants straight to the belly when she was a child. And that kind of tells you the mentality of the girl we're talking about. So, yes, this is all about Anne. It's all about her. So, with that said, she falls in love with one of these pirates, but that doesn't approve. Of course, he's a filthy pirate. That's why he doesn't approve. They run away to Jamaica, they get married. This guy's name is James Bond. He makes his new bride, Anne Bond, the most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. So, when she gets down there, James finds out he's a privateer. In her eyes, he's a coward. He's a spy for the British. So, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Jack. Much cooler name, much younger guy, very much the Captain Jack Sparrow that we all know and love. So this is the guy that she really wanted. He tried to buy the dowry from James Bond. Bond refused, and she's still married this entire time. For guy number 2, and you tell. Jack has his own ship. She wants to be part of the females' first pirate ships. He can't have a female on the ship. But he thinks he can dress like a guy, be part of the crew, not let everybody know she's a female, but she can be a female in my quarters. Of course, he's the captain, how things roll. So she's okay with this cross-dressing. His dad used to cross-dress her back home in Ireland as a boy to keep her away from his wife. He was just an apprentice at that point. So she's okay with it. She gets it. She just wants to be a pirate. Being a female in his quarters, she eventually gets pregnant. Can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the ship. He drops her off in Cuba to go have the baby, come back later and figure it out. She has a baby, return later, no child, and no idea what happened to that kid. She's also dressed like a girl, which makes Jack angry. Jack also just captured another pirate and they held captive for her death on the ship. She's going to go flirt with these men and make him even more jealous, because that's just who she is. That guy she's flirting with reveals his gender to be female, and got to be part of the pirates that the Captain Jack was captured. So, we have 2 female names. This young lady named 4 children, dies at the age of 84. Very quick ending, so we don't know all of the details in between. Mary Reed is in a Jamaican jail. She died in that Jamaican jail from a fire attack. Probably gross, complicated, and nasty. That was in September 2020. A lot of years later, we don't know if the pregnancy was maybe come out with the one Dan had. So, the only 2 facts that I know that I did not give you are his parents, other than the father's last name, or the name of Calico Jackson. So, anything else is fair game about whatever you want to. Cameras. If you want to go out to the we're going to have to switch out her battery. Here's guy 2. How many pictures did you take?
Not more than not a lot.
Okay. Well, then that is an anomaly because I pull the stuff that you guys are holding off the chargers before I leave the house.
Well, what's a lot of photos?
700?
Okay.
So, like, it should have very well been able to handle.
I took like 50.
So, like, 400 to 600, I still have 2/3 of the battery left.
Wow.
That's pretty nuts. That's definitely going in the notes because that should not have happened. Again, I pull it off the chargers, I sanitize it, put it in the bag, I get it in the car. That's my routine. That's how this goes. With those of you with camera, you can definitely go to the front. Lasers, if you want to work with Elizabeth's camera, you can at that point since hers has been dead. Because hers will pick up your lasers at the same time. That would be actually kind of cool. Kind of twisted up. EMFs, this is normally a dead zone. If you guys get anything on an EMF, that means something else is probably going on. So any little spike over, anything with the next green one for you, anything off that first green one, and again, we're looking at 2.5 and higher on yours. We did have some pretty consistent motion sense here last night, so we'll see what happens again. But yeah, we're definitely going to spread out, ask those whatever questions you want to on your spirit boxes, and we'll get this whole thing going. About 10 minutes here, unless we have a ton of activity. My apologies about your camera. Where are we at on your word list?
Cable and wars.
Wars, that's cool. We have the number 7 somewhere to prove how many wars, or even the word civil to prove that it was a civil war with the last one. 70? Eliza Pinckney died at the age of 70. So, what's the timestamp on that? That was 10 minutes before we were going across the street. That's crazy. So, again, the Pinckney Mansion is 3 blocks to our left that way. So, again, it's not far, but we'll see if another Pinckney member comes up. And that's pretty nutty to me. It could be a year related to another story. Change it out, let's spread out a little bit.
Probably because of that deal.
is pretty busy out here, but by far not the worst that it could be. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, sir.
Infrared.
Yeah.
You seeing anything?
I got it.
She's okay. But yeah, I'm a little weird about the whole 70 thing. Like that's, we're a little far away from this one. Yeah. Did you take a photo?
the?
The red and the blue dot, or the temperature, the highest temperature and the lowest temperature.
What does it say?
It's from like the temperature, the hottest and the lowest.
So I got a blue reading when I asked if she left her baby in Cuba and if she was the one that hurt her baby.
Party wrapped up. Got some interesting things going on over there. So we played with the night vision and the full spectrum lighting. So hopefully something comes out of that. That screen is really hard to watch in real time. So. Devices, you guys can start asking me questions. I'm going to start with the Elizabeth's camera. Unless she's still filming elsewhere. Here she goes. That one has its own separate pocket. It's okay. So, with what I see tonight, it's pretty light in real time. You know, like I said, I like to be pretty honest with you guys. Other than, you know, some chills that Amber felt, a couple of the motion sensors. So I'll take your spirit box. I'll start collecting as I'm talking. But feel free to interrupt me with questions if you have them. I just, again, like to be upfront and honest with you guys. It was pretty light. So we have a couple of terms that were vaguely related. I'm hoping to catch something, you know, through the data and evidence. But some of you said that you were also pretty excited about looking through the data. So that's probably why you're here. It says save. Frame village. Yeah. You guys had 97 terms that showed up, so I mean that's heavy. I just didn't see much out of it. So we'll see if it's just part of other sentences that I'm hearing out of the spirit box. That could be the case. As far as where you guys parked, where are we at? Can you see your lasers? Do I need to direct you guys somewhere? Do you guys know where you're at? Okay.
We're good.
Just keep them coming around the spirit box. So again, these spirit boxes you have to listen to. It's the hardest job out here. So when I'm giving you the markers in the morning, hopefully that'll help you guys, you know, determine what you're listening for. That would be enough. I'm going to take yours last, Elizabeth, because it has a separate pocket. I know you don't want to give this back.
No, so again, in that corner, just FYI for your notes, I asked Mary, the very last thing I asked her was if she left her baby in Cuba and if she hurt her baby, and it went all the way up to blue.
Oh, that's
So,
very interesting.
Yeah.
Did you ask
And
her directly? Because we have that Sue Howard Hardy story right across the street.
No, I said her name.
Nice job, by the way. Good.
So it went off a couple times.
Okay.
I wasn't touching buttons.